Let's just start with a hard truth. The greatest strategic failure in marketing operations is information fragmentation. It's this belief that more apps somehow make you faster, while completely ignoring the neurological fact that searching for files is the ultimate speed tax. So today, we're going to dismantle that chaos. Together, we're going to architect an operational command center and build your single source of truth. I mean, it's a crazy paradox when you really think about it. We've been sold this idea that more tools equal more speed, but it's a myth, a dangerous one. Every new platform, every new app just adds another layer of complexity, another place for crucial information to get lost. And our brains? Well, they just aren't built for these endless digital scavenger hunts. Every single minute you spend searching is a minute you're not spending on creating, on executing, on actually moving the needle. This isn't just annoying, it's a hidden tax that's crippling your team's momentum. And here's that tax in black and white, 30%. I want you to just let that sink in for a second. Nearly a third of your team's entire workday every single day just poof, gone, vaporized, not on smart strategy, not on brilliant creative, but on what we call search labor. It's like wandering through a messy warehouse looking for one specific box. This number isn't just a statistic, it's a massive hole in your efficiency, and today we're gonna seal it, permanently.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we have to diagnose what I call the information fog crisis. Then we'll get into the solution, the Relational Command Center. After that, we'll dive into the psychology of certainty to see why this works so well. Then I'll give you 3 clear mandates for mastery. And we'll wrap it all up by talking about how to achieve the ultimate goal, the speed of clarity.
Okay, first up, the information fog crisis. It's time to really put a name to this chaos. Because what your team is dealing with, it isn't just garden variety disorganization. No, it's a full-blown, diagnosable condition that is actively sabotaging your team's ability to perform. And trust me, the cost is way, way higher than you think. You know, there's actually a scientific principle behind this mess. It's called information entropy. It's a law, kind of like gravity, and it states that any system will naturally drift towards disorder and chaos unless you apply a powerful central organizing force. So without a deliberate system in place, chaos isn't just a risk, it's a mathematical certainty. And what's the #1 symptom of information entropy? It's this question. The one question that echoes through every Slack channel, every email thread, every meeting. It sounds so simple, right? Where is the final version? But that one question represents the single biggest point of friction in modern work. If you hear this question, it's a blaring alarm that your system is fundamentally broken. I bet this slide looks painfully familiar, doesn't it? The final version is literally everywhere and nowhere all at once. It's buried in some forgotten Slack thread. It's attached to an email from last month. Or, my personal favorite, it's saved on someone's desktop as final_usethisone.docx. Each of these is a tiny island of information, and trying to navigate this mess is what kills your team's momentum. So let's give this enemy a name: search labor. This is not work. It is the friction that stops the real work from happening. It's all that time spent hunting, double-checking, second-guessing. It's a massive cognitive drain that sucks your team's mental energy dry before they even get to the tasks that actually matter, the creative, strategic work that you hired them to do. Eliminating search labor is job #1. Okay, we've diagnosed the illness. Now it's time to build the cure. And listen, we're not looking for another app or some temporary fix. We are designing a blueprint for absolute, undeniable order. This is what we call the Relational Command Center, a system engineered from the ground up to fight information entropy. And here's the crucial idea. The strategy isn't to just organize the chaos, it's to eliminate it completely. And that requires something I call a structural collapse. We're going to take all those scattered islands of information, the Slack channels, the emails, the messy shared drives, and we're going to collapse them all into a single, unified continent of truth. A master reality, where only one version of any given fact is allowed to exist. So how do we actually pull off this collapse? Well, it happens in 3 distinct tiers. First, asset consolidation, getting everything in one place. Second, relational contextualization, connecting every asset to its meaning. And third, the master link protocol, a new rule for sharing that makes it impossible to screw up. Let's break down how this works.
pillar number 1 is asset consolidation, and this part is absolutely non-negotiable. You have to choose one platform, something like a Notion or an Airtable, to be the single structural home for everything. The rule is simple and absolute. If a file, a doc, or a piece of data doesn't live inside this home, then for all intents and purposes, it doesn't exist. It's invisible. This one decision completely eliminates the "where is it?" question forever. Now, this is what makes a command center so much more powerful than just a bunch of folders. It's the second pillar, relational contextualization. See, a file isn't just a file. In this system, every single asset is linked to its context. Think of it like a web. That final ad creative, it's not just sitting in a folder named ads. It's linked to the Q3 campaign. Its status is tagged approved, and its owner is crystal clear. So when you find it, you don't just find the file, you find its meaning. You know exactly what it is and how to use it. And the final pillar is what makes the whole system bulletproof over time. It's the master link protocol. This is a strict ban on duplicating files. No more email attachments, no more downloading a copy to your desktop. The rule is you update the master asset at its source in the command center, and you share only that single link. This is how you achieve what I call versioning lockdown. It becomes mathematically impossible to use the wrong version because there is no wrong version. So what happens when you put these 3 pillars into place? The information fog just lifts. That constant low-level anxiety of searching and verifying, it disappears. And for the first time, your entire organization, from top to bottom, is operating from the exact same set of facts. This is the foundation you need for synchronized scaling. It's how you go from being a collection of individuals to a truly cohesive, high-velocity team. Okay, so we've built the what, the architecture. But now let's dive into the why. Why is this so incredibly effective? The answer isn't just in data management, it's in cognitive science. We need to talk about the psychology of certainty. Think about your brain like a smartphone battery. You only have so much juice each day. This is what psychologists call cognitive load and search labor. It's like running 10 power-hungry apps in the background. It drains your battery fast. By completely eliminating that search, the single source of truth acts like a massive external hard drive for your brain. It frees up all that precious mental energy, so your team can focus it on what really matters: high-value, creative, strategic work. You're literally giving your team back their brain power. Then there's the second, and maybe even more powerful lever, the certainty effect. This is a huge cognitive principle. It turns out we humans are exponentially more productive when we have 100% confidence in our tools and our information. This system provides that absolute certainty. It silences that little voice in the back of your head that's always asking, wait, am I sure this is the right version? And when that micro-anxiety is gone, your team can finally enter a state of deep work, a flow state, where the real magic happens. Just look at this comparison. It's night and day, isn't it? On the left, you've got the fog of chaos, constant doubt, high mental drain, that nagging anxiety, and your brain constantly switching tasks. And on the right, the world of a single source of truth, absolute confidence, low mental drain, deep work, and sustained focus. The change here isn't just a small improvement, it's a fundamental transformation of how your team thinks and operates. So understanding the psychology behind this is awesome because it gives us the motivation to actually do the hard work. So let's get super practical. How do you actually build this? The whole system really comes down to 3 clear, actionable mandates. The path to getting this right is actually pretty straightforward. First, you have to map the chaos by executing a Silo Audit. Second, you have to make a decision and designate your master command center. And finally, you have to change your team's habits by enforcing the link-only mandate. All right, step 1, you have to map the existing chaos. You can't build order until you understand the full extent of the mess. This means you need to go on a hunt and list out every single app, folder, and drive where your team's stuff is currently hiding. You've got to make that invisible fog visible before you can start to clear it away. Step 2 is the big one. This is the most critical decision you'll make. You have to choose one and only one platform to be your master command center. It has to be the single, undisputed home for all of your marketing operations. This decision takes real conviction because it becomes the bedrock of your new ordered world. And finally, step 3. This is where you change the culture. You have to institute a strict, top-down policy that makes the old way of working impossible. We call it the link-only mandate. No more email attachments. No more saving local copies. From now on, all sharing happens through the master link from the command center. This is the rule that protects the integrity of your system for the long haul. So as we start to wrap this up, let's just zoom out and look at the core philosophy that powers this whole thing. This is about so much more than organizing files. It's about understanding the fundamental physics of how fast a team can really move. It's about achieving the speed of clarity.
If you only remember one thing from this entire explainer, please let it be this. Speed is a direct result of structural simplicity. It does not come from more tools or more features. Real velocity comes from removing friction. And the biggest source of friction in any organization is ambiguity. When you engineer a system of absolute clarity, you are building the foundation for unbelievable speed.
This right here is the transformation. Before, a single source of truth, what you really have is a chaotic group of well-meaning individuals who waste their time arguing about which version of reality is the right one. After, you have a synchronized unit, perfectly aligned, all executing on a single, undisputed reality. That is the difference between spinning your wheels and actually scaling.
And in the end, all of this, the seemingly internal operational stuff, connects directly to the real purpose of marketing. You see, the best marketing doesn't just push people through a funnel. It creates something so valuable that it pulls people toward it. But here's the catch. You simply cannot create that kind of value for your customers if your own team is operating in a state of internal chaos. Operational clarity is the invisible foundation that all great marketing is built on. So I'm going to leave you with one final critical question to take back to your team. Look at your current workflows, your tools, your habits, and be brutally honest. Is your system built to make people search for information, or is it architected deliberately and without compromise to help them scale? The answer to that question will determine your team's future.